Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Sherlock Solitaire. But before we do, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see all our videos as they come out. We do top 10 lists, we do reviews, we do topical videos, we do vlogs. You just want to make sure to subscribe so you can see all that is happening. Okay, Sherlock Solitaire is designed by Peter Schultz and it is published by Wise Wizard Games.
Alright, so thanks to Microsoft and the free games that came on it back when I was a kid, I feel like everyone my age knows how to play Solitaire. The actual card game name of it is Klondike. But yeah, so if you play Solitaire or Klondike, this has a lot of similarities to this. This is like if you took those games, mix it with, with Sherlock Holmes lore, and you eventually get Sherlock Solitaire. That's exactly what's happening here. You're blending those two things together to make a game that you can play with one or two players. I'll give you a quick overview of how to play. Alright, to start off Sherlock Solitaire, the first thing you need to do is you need to choose your case. Alright, so this is the recommended first starting case. This is the Valley of Fear. Don't get me wrong though, it's still extremely difficult. And then once you're more established, then you can do the final problem. Let's go ahead and stick with the Valley of Fear though. In this situation, what we're trying to do is we are trying to get 3 sets. A set is a group of cards that has 4 investigation cards in it. Alright, so there's investigation cards and there's threat cards all shuffled together in this deck. The investigation card are our numbers. Numbers are usually good, unless you have too many of them and you have nowhere to put them. But threat cards are almost always bad, except for when you need to place them in order to help you place more investigation cards. The next thing we need to do is choose our character. We can either be Sherlock Holmes or we can be Watson. If you're playing a 2-player game, one for each of you, but it plays the exact same either way. We're just going to go ahead and be Sherlock for now, just so we can kind of be the namesake for the game, right? There are 2 kind of areas of the board. We have to the right of the deck, that's going to be our office. That's where Sherlock's going to be doing all of his investigating. Over here on the left side, that is the crime scene. That's where we're going to try to get pairs of our investigation cards in order to enact special abilities. Over here on the right side, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get numbers, and the numbers have to be followed by letters. Okay, and once you start a column of numbers, you have to keep on using that same number over and over again. But it's a little bit tricky because you can never repeat the same letter within a single column. Over here on the other side, what we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid pairs of letters, and trying to make sure that you do get pairs of numbers, because numbers are going to give you special abilities. We have the numbers 1 through 4, and as you can see on Sherlock Holmes' card there, based off whatever numbers you get pairs of, those are the special abilities that you're going to enact. They're going to allow you to kind of move things around and arrange them in such a way that you can use them for your benefit. Every turn is going to be the same. What's going to happen is you are going to draw 4 cards off the top of the deck, and then 2 of them have to go to the right, 2 of them have to go to the left. Alright, so what we've got here is we've got a 1, a 4, a 2, and a C. So what I like to do with that is, I would like to start the 1 column. On top of that, I'm going to put a C. Remember, numbers go first, and then alternating letters. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put our 2 and our 4. That's a good thing. If we ever get pairs over there, we'll be able to enact special abilities. Alright, let's do it again. Let's draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and this time we've got A, B, 2, and 3. So what we could do is we could do a 3 here, and we could put an A on top of it. But you know what's going to have to happen now is that a B is going to have to go over to the other side. And that's not the end of the world yet. It's only a problem when you have 2 of them. You have a pair of those threat cards in the crime scene. Alright, so these are going to have to go over here. Our B is going to go over there. Now our 2 is going to come over here. But now we've got a pair of 2s. So these are going to get discarded. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our Sherlock Holmes card and see what happens when we have a pair of 2s gets discarded. In this case, one of the threat cards, one of the letters, gets to have to get moved over to the crime scene. That's not super great, but let's go ahead and move an A over there. I'll say one more turn here. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Flip them over. What have we got? We've got a couple of Ds. We've got a 2 and a 4. All right, let's see what we can do with those. So I think what I want to do is I want to put a 2 over here. Let's put a D on top of it. That means these 2 are going to have to go over here. A D over here is not great. Remember, we're trying to avoid letters over here, especially pairs of them. But we do have a 4 that has to go over there as well. Now we've got a pair of 4s. That's going to have to get discarded because we have pairs over there. But numbers are okay, remember? So we're going to go over here to Sherlock's card and see what his pair of 4s does. Go through the discard pile, find a card, and add it to either one of the areas. That might bail us out. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the discard pile. Remember early on we discarded a pair of 2s. I'm going to take one of those 2s and I'm going to put it on top of this pile. So that's how the whole game is going to go. You're going to draw 4 cards off the deck. 2 of them go over to the crime scene. 2 of them go over to the office. And you can do that in any order you want. Over here, you're trying to get long strings of cards, having at least 4 of these investigator cards in each one. Remember, in each row, you have to stay with the same number in the column. So here we have 2s, this is going to be our 3s, this is going to be our 1s, but you can only have 1 of each letter. So you can never put another D on top of this. You can never put just a plain number on top of this. You have to be alternating letters and numbers. And again, on the left side over here, there's the crime scene. If you get pairs of numbers, you're going to enact special abilities. If you get pairs of letters, you are going to be in trouble. Whenever you need to do something and you can't do it for whatever reason, for instance, you need to place a C in this column, but there's already a C in that columm, or perhaps the next card you're going to place over in this column is a 3, but you can't place a 3 there because there's no letters there yet. Whenever you have to do something like that, or whenever you have to put a pair of letters over here, what you're going to do is you're going to take a wound. All right, so the wound card's up here. It's going to start right there. The first time you take a wound, you're going to rotate it. The next time you take a wound, you're going to flip it over. And the third time you get a wound, you lose the game. So the entire time you're kind of jockeying for position, trying to make sure that you were able to play cards, survive long enough to be able to complete the objective. In this case, we're trying to get a lot of sets in order to fulfill the mission. All the while, you're trying to avoid getting those wounds because the wounds are going to get you closer and closer to death. Also, on this card, there's various degrees of difficulty. So, for instance, in this particular card, the difficulty is you start with some wounds if you start on a higher level. So that makes it really, really hard to be able to win the game when you're already kind of wounded going into it. It's a very puzzly system. You really have to work those special abilities to your advantage, making the timing of them work out so that you're able to move things around just when you need to in order to fulfill your sets, or to avoid wounds. This game says it's for 1 or 2 players. Basically what's going to happen is that the gameplay is identical. The only difference is when you're playing a solo, you have 1 character and you're taking every single turn. If you're playing a 2-player game, one of you is Dr. Watson, one of you is Sherlock Holmes, and you're simply alternating turns. And their special abilities are slightly different.
I really like that you have that wound card, and I like the art on it. It's really dark and like it's just a wound. Oh my gosh, it's a horrible wound. So I like that, but you could do that in a lot of different ways. You know, you could have a token, you could have whatever. But I like that they had that card and you just moved it around. And that it was a way to make the game the first campaign or the first story. It was a way to make it more challenging. Involve that wound card. It's so simple. It was just so easy. You didn't even really have to think about it, and you always had the reminder of you're gonna lose right now because you're at a what is it, fatal?
Serious wound or
yeah, something like that. Mortal wound. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I like how that worked.
This is a very clean system, right? You're going to draw 4 cards in your turn. You're going to put 2 over there. The crime scene, you're going to put 2 in the office. And how they all stack out is how you're going to score and win. It's a very clean system. I will say it took us a little bit to kind of to have it click, right?
Yeah, yes.
Because it's a little weird, right? You know, the numbers can repeat, but the letters can't. And over here, pairing up things is good. If it's numbers, pairing letters is bad. Like
numbers can't touch, but they can touch if things happen to them.
Yeah, so it's just a little weird getting started. But then it's kind of like any card game, right? Once it clicks, it really clicked. Then we really understood it. Then we were kind of able to play off each other and like, oh, you're doing that. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this. I'll start this up to you. So that way on your turn, you can do this or whatever the case is. Once it clicked, it really clicked. It's a very clean system. You just got to get into it, and then you're set.
Oh my gosh, this game is so hard. Oh my goodness. You know that whenever Ryan and I play cooperatively that we like our games to be challenging. This definitely fit the bill of that. I think maybe as a solo player I might want things to be a little easier, but I'm not sure yet how I am as a solo gamer. I'm developing that side of me. But it was so difficult. We only won once, and it was on the easy mode in all the games that we played with both of the stories that we were playing with. But I really liked how you couldn't just play a card. Like, you really had to think about it. You really had to look at everything and really map out what you're going to do, and maybe even do all the possible things that you could do before you even start playing anything, because it is just so hard.
But the good news is you don't have to strategize from the beginning how the end of the game is going to look. You can't. all you have to do is draw the 4 cards that you need to draw on your turn and handle those. That's all you need to do. You have to work with the next turn next, but just for now, draw the 4 cards, play them out there. So in that way, you're not bogged down with what am I going to do in the future or whatever. It doesn't matter. All you got to do for now is just set these up in the way that it's not going to hurt you, and then you get the next 4 and then deal with those. Then take the next 4 and then deal with those. You know, you don't have to like figure out the whole game. Yep. Just step into it, turn at a turn, and turn by turn, and it'll work out fine. Or not, but you don't have to worry about the future.
Oh my dear goodness, people. This game I loved. It was so good. I liked it a lot. It really is a solo game that can be divided amongst 2 players. That worked out really, really well. It is, at its core, a solo game. But it works out to where you can actually just play with just 2 people. And the game is still there. The feel is all the same. I enjoyed it so much. I'm so happy this happened because it doesn't always happen, but it definitely lived up to my expectation. This is one of the games that I was very excited to get to the table. I was very excited to play. I'm very happy I did. It lived up to what I wanted it to be. Great time. I'm going to take it to work today.
Yeah. And you had high expectations going in, so the fact that it was met that's pretty cool. All right, so I do want to warn you, this theme is super thin. Very thin. This could have been about absolutely anything in the universe, and it would have been fine. It's a very thin theme. That being said, it was fun to see. We love Sherlock lore, and it gave some flavor text, which had nothing to do with the gameplay, but it was fun anyways.
Yeah.
It's a really cool system. I enjoyed it a lot. I felt like I could feel the Klondike DNA built into it while still being very, very different as well. It wasn't like you were just playing solitaire. You weren't just doing that. You were doing a whole other thing where you're balancing out things and avoiding certain things from triggering. I thought that was a very cool, just a cool system. I would love to see more character cards. I would love to see more scenario cards. The problem is, because it is such a simple system in terms of like letters and numbers, I don't know how you could really do much more.
You'd have to implement another card.
You need more letters or more numbers or a
symbol
a new
something.
kind of card, something like that. But I feel like to make more game out of this, I would love to have a little miniature expansion with more characters and more scenarios. Maybe it doesn't even need it. But I just kind of in my head, I'd like to have it.
Yeah. This was fantastic. Again, I'm saying. Again. Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.